Independent member for Clark.
Yeah, about time again.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Attorney-General. Attorney, at the Estimates Committee meeting last Wednesday, in relation to the extraordinary notice issued by the Director of Prisons calling on staff not to sexually and physically abuse each other, I asked, what have you done to remedy the workplace culture at the prison, and if you could guarantee a safe workplace for all staff? Unfortunately, you and the Director's answers were short on detail. A guarantee of a safe workplace was not provided. The Director would not have issued such a forceful and detailed statement without evidence of sexual abuse or bullying within the prison service. Attorney, I ask you again, will you guarantee a safe workplace for staff at Risdon? And if you cannot, will you now outline the specific steps you are taking to remedy the workplace culture at Risdon?
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Attorney-General. Minister for Corrections.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the honourable member for her question, because it does actually give me an opportunity to firstly address the language that she's using from a letter which I'll actually take the opportunity to use the correct words, because nowhere does it refer to sexual abuse. Nowhere. It's about standards of behaviour. It's a notice to staff. Mr Speaker, at the estimates table, I appropriately referred the question to the Director of Prisons because it was a highly operational question, and as Minister I do not involve myself in operational decisions of the prison or staff management, but I also did contribute, obviously, and back the Director up as I always would. The Director addressed Ms Johnston's question, and quite frankly, if she was not satisfied with the level of detail that he provided or that I provided, I would have expected during the estimates process to have a subsequent question put. That's how the estimates process works, and every member is entitled to do so. That said, I am very happy to address the question that's been put, to reiterate the statements made by the Director of Prisons, and as I said, take the opportunity to correct the language that's been used. The notice to which Ms Johnston refers from the Director of Prison was hardly extraordinary. I can't agree with the highly charged allegation that's been made regarding sexual abuse. The notice to staff never mentioned that. It was about, as I said, the standards of behaviour under the Department of Justice values. And I will take the opportunity. So it expressed that, to be absolutely clear, what was expected was that it was not acceptable to sexually discriminate against a colleague. It is not acceptable to verbally and physically abuse a colleague. It is not acceptable to discriminate against a colleague due to the colour of their skin, sexuality or gender. It is not acceptable to target a group of staff and expose them to a perceived greater risk simply because of the work they do and your perception of that work. It went on to state, and I further quote, I fully endorse the Department of Justice values, and it is my expectation that everyone portray these values in each and every interaction you have with anyone through the course of your work. Anything less is not acceptable and will not be tolerated.
That's right. He
goes on to say, I want to acknowledge that the majority of employees at the TPS operate consistently in accordance with our values, treating each other with respect and actively promoting a positive workplace. We see these efforts every day, and they are valued contributions to our workplace. I couldn't agree more, Mr Speaker, and I would like to say thank you to the staff, the hard-working staff at the TPS in particular, also across community corrections, for the work they do in a very challenging but often very rewarding workplace as well. They have an opportunity to change lives. The notice was simply a reminder, Mr Speaker, of the appropriate behaviours and responsibilities expected of all staff under the Code of Conduct in the Tasmania Prison Service as part of the TPS's commitment to being a values-based organisation and obviously compliant with workplace health and safety laws. As Attorney-General, as Minister for Workplace Safety, I fully endorse the Director in promoting and reminding staff of the need for appropriate workplace behaviours. And of course, the Director of Prisons has an obligation under workplace health and safety law to ensure that he is promoting those positive workplace behaviours and ensuring a safe workplace. This is hardly extraordinary, Mr Speaker. We all have a right to feel safe and to feel respected in the workplace. Any form of bullying is completely unacceptable and should be called out and dealt with appropriately. And all employers have a duty of care and legal obligation to staff working within their workplace to ensure work health and safety standards are upheld, and the TPS takes this responsibility very seriously. The safety of staff at TPS remains a top priority of our government too, of course, Mr Speaker. Let me state out very clearly to directly answer that question. Yes, I am satisfied that staff working in the TPS are working in a safe workplace. Matters around bullying are largely operational and dealt with by our departments. On culture, I can advise that the Department of Justice has recently developed and enacted new agency values of integrity, respect, accountability, inclusiveness and collaboration. The Department of Justice has been working with their staff, including staff of the TPS, to ensure they fully enact those values and to ensure their staff understand what they mean and what their behaviour or what that behaviour looks like in their workplace. And this notice of standards of behaviour notice to staff does that. They also provide training to staff about appropriate workplace behaviours and ensure that all staff are confident to call out inappropriate behaviour if they witness that. These are just some of the things, Mr Speaker, the department is doing in this area along with other activities. And just if I can briefly say as well, Mr Speaker, as in most workplaces, there will unfortunately be cases where bullying might occur and where staff need to be supported and indeed reminded of their obligations. And as I stated in essence last week, we have a wellbeing support program that will be commencing any day now to support our staff, to provide them with further training and anything they require for not only their physical but their mental health and wellbeing as well.